Hey, welcome to Travis Vibes. Today we're going to check out Claude Code. It's pretty cool and I've been using it for the last few days. It's a AI coding tool built right into your terminal, made by Anthropic for their own internal teams to use, and now they're releasing it to all of us. It's really powerful because it has so much tooling already built in, doing web research, accessing different CLIs in the terminal, and spinning up multiple agents to crunch on a difficult problem. I honestly think I'm just scratching the surface of what this can do. Today, I'm going to use it to build a feature for our web app project that we're building, WePaint.ai, our real-time collaborative paint image AI editor. So yeah, let's dive in. I will go through the setup just for anyone that wants to understand how to get all this configured. I had a couple of people on X asking me about that. So let's dive over to my terminal and we'll get started. All right, we're in terminal, and the first thing that Claude Code needs is to have Node 18 installed on your system. So if you don't have any of that set up, I recommend first installing Homebrew if you don't have Homebrew. And then once you have Homebrew, brew install NVM will install Node Version Manager so you can have multiple versions of Node on your system at once. And then you want to do NVM install 18 to get that specific version of Node, NVM use 18, and then to check to make sure you're using it, Node version. Okay, once you have that, then you got to go to Claude Code's website and install it on your system, which I already have. Then it's really easy, just kick it off with Claude. First time you start it up, you're going to have some checks for security access, etc., etc. I've already gone through those steps. And you also, by the way, want to be in your repo, in your codebase folder, in the root directory when you start up Claude, so that that's where Claude is going to start working. Once you do that, one final important step before you start just vibe coding with Claude Code is to make sure you do Claude init on your project, for any project, the first time you start working with it in Claude Code. This is going to go through and Claude is going to scan all of your code base, identify what tech you're using, the stack, identify how to kick off local development, etc., etc. This file just keeps Claude focused and understanding your code base. Once it's done that, then we can kick off some, building a feature, asking about a bug, designing a new architecture. Sky's the limit, really, of what Claude Code can do for you. That being said, we could do all of this work right here in this editor. I still feel more comfortable using Claude Code within an IDE. So I'm going to actually set up Claude Code in the terminal within Visual Studio Code, where I like to develop my projects. We're in VS Code now, and we're going to open up a terminal, and we're going to just type Claude. And here we go. So just like we had before, we have the full terminal interface for Claude Code, but we also now are a little bit in a more familiar IDE to also take a look at our files and do other ancillary things. I believe this also will work in Cursor and other IDEs, but I haven't tried them. I don't see why not. Okay, let's now actually get to work and try to build a new feature for our web app, WePaint.ai. And I think what I would like to work on today is actually having the ability for a user to upload a image from their local computer and drop it onto the canvas, and then from there do some other AI fun around that image. Let's see how Claude Code does with this. While this is cranking, the one thing I didn't touch on that I wanted to earlier in the video is the pricing structure for Claude Code is another reason that I'm using it. I personally find that Anthropic's Claude models are the top models for development, for coding. Sonnet 4 for the actual coding, Opus 4 for planning, because Opus 4 is extremely expensive and slow. So you can't use it for coding, but it's great to solve deep debug issues, etc. And Claude Code integrates with Anthropic's Max monthly plan, which gives me the ability to do significant amounts of AI coding without worrying about a usage-based pricing model. I've often using VS Code with Klein as another way to do AI coding. I guess I don't have it installed on this machine yet, which is surprising, but Klein is awesome as well. So is Code, by the way, which is a fork of Klein, and very similar, although going in more of an agentic direction from what I can tell. And Klein is basically the way that you would AI code with Klein is by setting up I guess you can get started for free. That's cool. I didn't even know that. But the way that I've always used Klein is using OpenRouter and providing my OpenRouter API key. And then basically what OpenRouter does is just gives you a fire hose of as much usage of Claude and any other top model that you want. Usage-based meaning a few cents every call back and forth, but that grows, and I've been easily spending $50+ a day on my OpenRouter usage. So I really needed to come up with a way that I could continue to develop and use these AI tools but not break the bank. And in my research, Claude Code's max monthly plan, which starts at $100, there's also like a $200 plan, that works well because it's not usage based. Ultimately, you might hit a rate limit, although I have yet to hit the rate limit, and if you do, it's going to reset after a 5-hour window. So you're never going to be stuck for long without being able to just use the top Claude models, but in a non-usage based way. Okay, so that's my pricing rant. Now back to our actual feature. As you can see, it is going and coming up with a plan for how to implement the image upload tool. It will always make these like to-do lists for itself, and then it's going to track its progress by crossing off different things from the to-do list. So it's I like the approach. Okay, so it's searching, it's locating where is all of this in the code base, and then it's coming up with the implementation plan. It's going to use Convex's built-in file storage for the images, which is perfect. That's what I was hoping. It's going to support all the common image formats. All right, so looks good. I'm not going to dig too deep into this for the sake of the video. Let's have it implement this plan. Yeah, over the weekend I used Claude Code to work through a really tricky issue with the multiplayer real-time aspect of the painting. I'm trying to performantly allow when two people join or more than two the same canvas that you'll see the other users painting in as close to real time as possible. And that has been difficult. Was having a lot of lag, a lot of delay on the remote user's canvas. Ultimately, went back and forth with Claude Code for several hours debugging, adding additional debug tools to the interface so that we could log and see what was happening. I had to go through a lot of back and forth where Claude solved it, Claude figured it out, and after I quickly tested, no, it had not solved it. We ultimately determined that our fundamental architectural approach of relying on convex, trying to push all this paint stroke information up to the server and then back to the remote client was just not a good implementation. And so instead we implemented a separate approach where we're using P2P, so peer-to-peer web RTC for the real-time painting and getting a lot better results. And so again, that took several long debug sessions with Claude Code. And from a pricing perspective, I'm glad that I'm paying a monthly on that because it was significant. The first time you use Claude, it's going to ask permission to do pretty much every step. I'm comfortable telling it to not ask me again on almost all of the commands that it runs, but there are a few you're going to want to potentially not have it continue without checking. Things like RM, remove files, anything that is deleting stuff. It's up to you. If you have everything backed up on GitHub and backups of your machine, what's the worst that can happen, I guess? One thing that I just really like about being in VS Code for this is VS Code's got such a great source control visualizer, to see like what changes is Claude Code actually, making to our code base. And if you're just purely running Claude Code in the editor, in the terminal, it's just, you don't have as much visibility. So that being said, I have done long sessions using Claude Code just straight in the terminal, and there is something to the minimalism and the flow state that you can get into it with it when you don't have the distraction of all of your other IDEs. So I would say try both and see what works for you. Looks like we have ready to test. So we've updated the convex schema. We've created new convex functions for image upload, added an upload tool, created an image upload tool component. Looks like we should be in business. So you can see now one of the great things Claude Code is able to do is a solid job of running commands in the terminal. This is something that I've found to be a weak area of other approaches to AI coding, like using Klein. They do tend to stumble when it comes to managing like terminal sessions inside of VS Code. For example, it will be unaware of a existing instance of terminal and it'll start adding like multiple sessions, and I've seen a lot of breaks on that. Whereas because Claude Code is so built into the terminal, like that's its native environment, it seems to be more capable. Okay, we have liftoff. Implementation complete. I've successfully implemented the image upload tool for your painting application. Here's what was added. 1. Backend convex. Updated the schema. Created a new image TypeScript file with multiple convex functions for uploading and managing. Created front-end components related to the image uploading and allow uploading of all the regular formats, features wise, and then it describes the user flow. So let's go ahead and jump over to Chrome and give it a test. All right, let's dive over to our app and test out the image upload capability that Claude Code implemented. So in our toolbox, we have an icon for upload, and now we can, oh, that's an interesting modal. Kind of like it though, because now I can do a drag drop, presumably. Or like upload and change maybe should be swapped, but all right. Wow, I am very large on the screen, but yeah, looks like the functionality is working. What happens when I do multiple? Unclear. Does it work multiple times? Yes, nice. All right, now let's try the drop, drag and drop. Awesome. Looks like Claude Code executed really well on the initial implementation of file image upload. We're going to have to continue to iterate on this. I think it should probably automatically resize to fit the canvas. And then we're going to want to have additional capabilities like interacting with the image on the canvas, being able to move it around, rotate, etc., etc. Everything you would expect. But we're going to stop here for today, keep it a little brief, and jump back in soon. Thanks.